Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
Hello and welcome to the Skift India Travel Podcast. I'm Peden, Skift's Asia editor, and joining me today is my colleague Bulbul Dhawan, our India reporter. Bulbul and I will be discussing some of the biggest headlines coming out from India. Hi Bulbul and welcome.
Hi, Peden. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm good. Bulbul, what a week it has been, isn't it? Let's begin by talking about one of the biggest developments that we cannot miss out on, TBO Tech's IPO. Of course, as we know that TBO Tech is a travel distribution platform, and from this IPO, TBO had planned to raise about $180 million. I spoke to the co-founders Gaurav Bhatnagar and Ankush Najavan, and a lot of that discussion was about acquisitions. TBO plans to allocate about $4.8 million of its net proceeds in the IPO towards strategic acquisitions and investments. TBO, as we know, has already acquired two European companies last year. What did you make of all that was happening with TBO? Of course, they had a fantastic, opening last week, and they were oversubscribed about 86 times.
Yeah, I think the IPO was stellar. Like you said, the subscription was 87 times, and then when it listed on the bourses last week, uh, both at NSE and BSE, it was listed at around or more than 50% premium. And since then, it has only gone up. For example, on BSE, when it listed on Wednesday, it listed at 50% premium, and then after Saturday's special session, it closed at 59% premium over the IPO price. So it's just gone on an upward trajectory. And I think if you look at the bigger picture, it shows the continuous growth. It shows uh, this in the progress of the positive atmosphere around travel companies as a whole. Because if we see, not long ago, Yatra had its IPO. It was in September last year, and then Oyo, we know, is IPO bound. And even if we leave that aside, because um, Oyo has been IPO bound for quite some time now, there are three hotel companies that did launch their IPOs recently. So we have Juniper Hotels, we have APJ Surendra Park Hotels, and then we have Sami Hotels. So there is a lot of progress that is surrounding hospitality companies. And this is just if we're speaking about IPOs, but uh, even if we see the performance of say hospitality companies on the listed hospitality companies itself, then an HVS Anadoc report did share that Indian hotel companies have recorded double the average price to earnings ratio as compared to international hotel companies. So it's I think it's a positive growth that the travel industry is witnessing, and TBO's success is a reflection of that.
Yeah, I think yeah, it is, and also it might be good news for all the travel companies, that are waiting
Yeah.
in the wings, trying to decide whether they should be launching the IPO or not. As we know, Oyo is set to refile its
Hmm.
IPO again once it gets the financing. There are talks that it's going to get a financing and then refile the IPO.
Yeah.
Of course, IPO wise, I think TBO has shown the way to many travel companies, and there might be more travel IPOs coming up this year.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to the aviation industry in India, Bulbul. There it has been the aviation industry in the country has been rocked by significant disruptions, due to
Hmm.
various labor disputes with some of the major airlines.
Yeah.
It was Vistara earlier, and last week we heard about Air India Express. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, both these airlines are owned by the same owner, Tata Companies. And as we know, the airline recently, Air India Express, saw its cabin crew members going on mass sick leaves. That led to a cancellation of more than 80 flights in one single day. Because of course this is especially concerning because just about a month before that, Vistara's operations were also impacted due to its pilots. Both airlines are key players in the market and are involved in high stake mergers and have faced operational challenges stemming from workforce unrest. You've talked about the Air India Express cancellations. So what did you find out when you were doing the story?
I think it was interesting, the story, especially because it came right on the heels of what happened with Vistara and against the
Mhm.
picture that both of these airlines are headed towards their merger. Vistara is, of course, merging with Air India, and then we have Air India Express merging with AIX Connect, formerly Air Asia India, to create one low cost airline operated by Tata. So, and we know that with Vistara, the core issue was the change in pay structure of pilots so that it was in line with Air India's policy. So that was the issue with Vistara. And then what happened in Air India Express's case was that this time it was the cabin crew that was protesting, again over HR issues. So, according to what PTI reported, a section of cabin crew staff alleged mismanagement on the part of Air India Express, saying that they were treated unequally. Um, the they Some staff members reported that they were offered jobs at lower positions despite clearing interviews for senior posts, and that internal job postings were being filled by external candidates bypassing qualified internal candidates. And then there was also some changes in the compensation package of the employees. So these were issues that led to this protest. It was more or less quickly handled, if we could call it that. What with the airline handing out termination letters en masse. But what I understand from it is that, seeing what happened with Vistara and now what's happening with Air India Express, it's there's a lot of uncertainty, it seems, among the staff about their future as both these airlines run towards their merger. And so I think that is why, as a first step, Tata Group decided, I mean, Air India and Vistara decided to hold a combined town hall meeting with its employees. And I think that may be one of its steps to try and counter these protests so that they can keep the employees in the loop.
Yeah, no, for the employees, they might be having a town hall, Bulbul. But I think as even the passengers are equally concerned, and
Yeah.
looking forward to how the merger between Air India and Vistara is going to happen. Of course, there have been reports that the quoting Air India CEO Campbell Wilson saying that the merger is expected to complete by the end of this year. And this, of course, is an accelerated timeline, because the previous estimate was about mid 2025. And we have also started to get some more details about the merger process, and most importantly, about the loyalty programs, because that's what everyone is concerned about, especially those who have who are part of the loyalty program of Vistara. You covered this topic recently, So, what is your impression of this?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, this merger is an important one because Air India and Vistara, they're about the only two functioning full service airlines in India. So combining them is going to make the only full service airline. And so um, the what happened was that we got a little more glimpse of their processes, and I'll come to the loyalty programs. But so far, even the information that we have on their merger process is very limited. We know that the organizational structure is finalized for the merged entity, we just don't know what it is. And we know that out of their combined 23,000 employees, they have assessed, I mean, Air India and Vistara, they have assessed 7,000 employees so far, and their roles and responsibilities will be made clear by the end of June. And then we also know that Singapore Airline, which works with Tata to operate Vistara, will continue to have a 25.1% stake in in the merged Air India. So and Singapore Airlines recently said that there are few regulatory approvals that are awaited. So that is where the cross progress is on terms of or the progress as we know it in the operational aspects. And then when it comes to the customer facing front, Vistara did send out mails last week to its loyalty program members, the Club Vistara members,
Yes.
and we finally were able to get more information that Club Vistara will be migrated into Air India. So
Yes, but there's still a lot of gray area in there because they haven't said how, because especially the co-branded credit cards,
yes,
because Vistara did some really good co-branded credit cards with Axis, with IDFC and other banks.
yeah, it
So
has. I think
there
it
is
has a
not much
few.
clarity.
Yeah,
Yes,
it has
there's not
partnered
much
with
clarity on the co-branded credit cards as well.
Amadeus makes the experience of travel better for everyone everywhere by inspiring innovation, partnerships, and responsibility to people, places, and planet. Our technology powers the travel and tourism industry, inspiring more open ways of working, more connected ways of thinking, centered around the traveler. Our open platform connects the global travel and hospitality ecosystem, from startups to big industry players and governments too. Together, redesigning the travel of tomorrow. Amadeus, it's how travel works. Visit us to know more, amadeus.com.
Yeah, and that they said in their mail that we will update you on that. We don't know when that information will be coming in. So and of course, if we take a look at it, a lot of people have been using travel credit cards, and I reckon Vistara credit cards are a part of it, especially because they give out. Indians are really into traveling now, and Vistara credit cards do come with a lot of benefits. So not knowing what will happen with those credit cards, of course, is also a part of the confusion, and people are still awaiting information on that.
Yeah, because
And
those credit cards, like you said, Bulbul, it's
mhm,
it's uh, it's helpful in the way that even if you reach a certain goal, say for
hmm,
instance, if you manage to spend about 100,000 Indian rupees,
yeah,
then you will get one free complimentary ticket as well. Those are
yeah,
that's the way in which the credit cards function. if
yeah,
you then if you go
and
ahead and the next quarter spend about 500,000, then you get another complimentary ticket, right?
yes. And then this goes up. So, I mean, depending on the level, because they have tiers. So, depending on the level of card that you have, with different tiers, you get different categories. So, you could get a free economy ticket, or a free premium
Premium
economy ticket,
economy,
or
and
even a
even a
free business
business.
class. Yes. And
Yes,
then
but these are
sometimes,
these these are redeemable only on domestic destinations, but it's still
yeah.
very,
But
very lucrative.
but yeah, they're lucrative because as Indians are traveling, it's also something that is promoting, I think, to some extent, or to a particular section of these travelers, it is promoting Indian destinations. When they want to redeem those tickets, they have free tickets in hand, and they would be like, okay, let's travel within India. And
Correct.
if you look at Air India's co-brand credit card with SBI, then the benefits are not the same at all. You get reward points, but you don't get anything as lucrative as this. And apart from that, also, that I noticed that there is a lot of skepticism among travelers on whether Air India would be able to deliver the quality that the way Vistara has. I mean, okay, so personally, full disclosure, personally, I'm a huge fan of Vistara, and when I was a student, I loved Air India as well because it was a government airline, and so it gave a very, very hefty student discount. And then there was free food and great luggage allowance because Air India used to give, I think, 25 kgs at that point when others would give 15 kgs. So really, there was
Yes.
nothing else that I could ask for. So perhaps I'm not very put off by the Air India Vistara merger, but I do know that there were issues for some people with in-flight experience. So the skepticism makes
Yes.
sense to some, makes sense to me. And but I'm really hopeful that with Tata and Singapore Airlines continuing to operate the merged entity, they'll be able to recreate the Vistara magic with Air India. Because even in the run up to the merger, if we see, Air India is adding offerings that will enhance customer experience. So the way I see it, it's a positive, because at least so far they're trying to pull Air India up to Vistara standard on the customer experience front
Exactly.
instead
This
of
is what this
pulling
is what
Vistara down.
the Vistara CEO Vinod Kannan also said in his in one
Hmm.
of the interviews. The idea is to bring Air India to the level of Vistara, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, we can only wish for that. You know, there of course, like you said, there have been a lot of issues as far as Air India's operational challenges are concerned, and the in-flight experience. So we can only hope that Vinod Kannan is right, and that happens, and then we get a very strong full-service carrier from India.
Yes, because
But while yes, yes,
yeah.
please.
So because we see that Air India is upgrading its fleet, and it's adding different offerings. It has added a premium economy class as well, while keeping the first class, which Vistara did not offer. So I think so far it's going in the direction that Vinod Kannan pointed out.
Yeah, and of course we know that premium economy is a very is a favorite among many Indian travelers, and as we have
Hmm.
seen with Vistara was the first airline to experiment in India with premium economy, and the premium economy seats are always full.
Yeah.
Um, Going from full service carriers to LCCs, we have Akasa Air. Like the airline is less than 2 years old, but it has been expanding exponentially, and they have a network of 24 cities in India, and now. After Doha, they've added Jeddah as the international destination, so that makes it two international destinations. I recently did an interview with the airline's co-founder Praveen Iyer, who shared that the airline is going to expand quite rapidly on the international front. You've been covering, the domestic aviation industry for the India Report. What do you make of what's happening at Akasa, and when you were doing your stories, compared to other, of course, now we have nothing to compare Akasa against. I mean, like, there is Indigo, but Indigo is like just so huge. And then there is the merged, LCCs of Tata, AIX Connect. But Akasa has been doing a fine job of connecting the metropolitan cities to tier 2 and tier 3 cities, because their focus has been on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and they have reflecting the shifting market dynamics, and of course also highlighting the untapped potential in regional connectivity.
Yeah. So I the way I see Akasa Air is that it came in and then it took India by storm. It started up its operations in August 2022, and it is already flying to two international destinations now. And it's like you said, it's operational in 24 cities, including Doha in Qatar and Jeddah in Saudi Arabia now. And it's also looking at two more international destinations pretty soon. So, and then in India itself, if you look at its network map, it's connected to a lot of popular destinations, but then also to smaller places like Agartala, where only Indigo and Air India operate for the most
Yes.
part, and then also to Gwalior, and now also it's adding Gorakhpur to its network. So I think it's like they have a very healthy mix of hubs and then tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and that is a part of its expansion strategy. And like you said, it has nothing to compare itself to, and I'll explain why. Because in the first 3 months of 2024, Akasa accounted for 4.5% of market share in India, in the Indian aviation sector. And if we compare this to last year's first 3 months, last year it was 3%. And and just to give a bit of an idea, it may not seem like a big thing, but but Indigo has the 60% market share, so the other airlines are fighting for a smaller bit out of it. And so if you look at Air India, it has 12.7% market share, and Vistara has a 9.8% market share. So when you look at those figures, you see that Akasa having a 4.5 market share may not seem like a big deal, but in comparison, if you look at the time that it's been operating, and then the time that these airlines have been operating and the market share that they hold, it's amazing, I think. And and then I think a big factor in that is Akasa's on-time performance, and then price is obviously also a factor.
Yeah,
And
price definitely is a factor
yes,
for a price sensitive market like India. But as we
yes,
know that, Indians are also quite unforgiving when it comes to airlines.
yes, but
If there is a delay, if there is anything, people are ready with their smartphones taking videos, and
yes,
it's
tweeting.
not an easy market to operate.
Yeah, but then also Akasa also had the least amount of cancellations among all the other airlines across January, February, and March this year. So on
Yes,
time
I think
performance,
Akasa also briefly struggled with a pilot issue, but I think they handled it pretty well, and they solved it before it got
yeah.
before it got really bad.
Yeah, but then I also think one of like the biggest thing that is working in the airline's favor is that it commenced its operations at a very opportune time. And I'm sure everyone has remembered this by now because we keep saying this, but India is an underserved market. And and so there is so much scope and so much demand. And so Akasa coming in at this point of time, and people were looking at revenge travel then, and now they're just willing to travel, and then giving them a low price, low cost alternative to say SpiceJet. Um, it was just something that worked in its favor. And then authorities are also supporting airlines, be it in India or outside at this moment, because this is a booming industry worldwide. So I think the timing is also working very well in Akasa's favor.
That's great. After the airlines, Bulbul, I want to talk to you about some good news as far as Indians are concerned. That's the extension of the visa waivers for Indian passport holders. You know, Thailand did it, and Sri Lanka did it recently. And of course, we know that India is one of the most important source markets for both these countries, and is also the fastest growing. If we talk about Thailand in 2023, over 1.6 million Indian travelers visited the country, making India about the fourth largest source market for Thailand.
Hmm.
And Indian tourists also spent about $1.7 billion in Thailand, when they were holidaying.
Yeah.
So Thailand has extended the visa arrangement for Indian travelers because it expired in May.
Hmm.
So they've extended it again for 6 months till November 11th, and this might just be an ongoing thing, and it might again happen after May.
Hmm.
Um, Visitors are now allowed to stay without a visa in Thailand for a period which that should not extend about 30 days.
Hmm.
And Thailand has got an ambitious tourism target this year, and but in the first 4 months of 2022, it's got about 12 million visitor arrivals.
Hmm.
And in that, I think about 550,000 travelers were Indians.
Hmm.
And this year, Thailand has expects about 1.7 million Indian travelers this year, and
Hmm.
it's doing and pulling all stops to attract these travelers. And Sri Lanka, as we know, has benefited greatly from the whole India Maldives issue.
Yeah.
So, uh, you know, would you like to share? You've talked to recently. You spoke to an island resort in Thailand,
Hmm.
and you covered the related developments as well. So, would you like to share some, and what you make of them?
Absolutely, because I think this is a very exciting time. As we know, Sri Lanka, of course, is expecting Indians, and it's benefiting from, like you said, it's even the minister admitted that it is benefiting from the entire India Maldives issue. But coming to Thailand, I think one of the most interesting things that I recently saw is that both Air India and Indigo added more direct flights between Delhi and Phuket. And then a week or so later, SpiceJet announced that it's
Even
commencing
yeah,
operations in Phuket with
even
direct.
Indigo did that, right?
Yeah, so Air India and Indigo both did that. And I mean,
Hmm.
they almost doubled their frequency. And then SpiceJet announced that it is also commencing operations between Phuket and Delhi. So I think the airlines are just trying to become a part of Indians' love for Thailand. And now that the visa has been extended, this to and fro between Thailand and India is only going to increase. And while it is true that India is among the most important source markets for Thailand, for Indians as well, Thailand is one of the top international travel destinations. In 2023, Bangkok was the second most popular international destination for Indians. And every time any online travel platform releases their list of most searched destinations, you can always spot Thailand amongst them. So, so of course there is a lot of love for Thailand, and we and because of that we tend to think that it is a very explored destination. Sri Lanka, on the other hand, is still being explored by Indians, but Thailand people is like we also sometimes I also sometimes think that Thailand is a very explored market. But what I learned when I spoke to the owner of Pimalai Resort, which is a resort in Krabi, is that Indians are traveling to Thailand quite a lot, but not much beyond Bangkok and Phuket has been explored. This is partly due to the fact that Indians are now going on shorter vacations because they just want to quickly drop by and then come back in. So they're just looking at one place that they would go to and then return. And because currently flights are mostly just flying to Bangkok and Phuket, these are the only destinations that people are exploring when on their short trips. And so these destinations are explored quite a lot, but beyond them, not much. And the thing that I learned from her is that um, with people now having explored Phuket and Bangkok twice or thrice or even more times, she's hopeful that they will look at smaller destinations more. Because, especially because Indian travelers are now seeking local and authentic experiences. And so, what I learned from her and what I think is safe to extrapolate to other lesser explored Thai destinations as well is that they are targeting the repeat Indian visitors. Their aim is not to get the Indians to visit them when they're on their first trip to Thailand, but rather to offer themselves as a novelty for the repeat visit to the nation.
Exactly, because I guess every Indian who has a passport has been to Thailand, because that is also one of the
Yeah.
most budget friendly destinations as far as Indian travelers are concerned.
And it's short
Because
haul.
any
It's not
Yes,
that far
exactly. It's
away.
just it's and from cities like Calcutta, it's just about a 2.5 3 hour flight,
Yeah.
and you reach Thailand in no time. And AirAsia did a fantastic job of, because there are some really, the airfares are really reasonable. AirAsia has done a fine job of that. And I remember that that when they have done these comparative studies, that it's cheaper to do a holiday in Thailand than to a holiday in India itself. So yeah, I think Thailand will look at Indian repeat customer visitors, because of course every Indian visitor at some point in time may have, with a passport, may have visited Thailand.
Yes, and plus we're not afraid to spend.
Yes. It was great talking to you, Bulbul, today. And of course, there's a lot happening in the Indian travel and tourism industry. And of course, I can't wait to see what next week holds for us. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And thank you to our viewers for listening in. And don't forget to subscribe to the Skift India podcast on your favorite listening app. Thank you very much.
This has been the Skift India Travel Podcast. Thank you for listening.